Hi, state coordinators. Nicholas Barrow here. I'm sure most of you who know me have heard of me, so I'll skip that part. But in this video, I just wanted to go over what's probably a very new process for you guys, and that is going to be how bills are assigned numbers in the future. The way this happens is you actually have to go into a new portal, and the bill numbers themselves are static. And what I mean by that is the data about the bill number itself does not change, meaning year after year, instead of deleting everything and simply writing the number 1 on a piece of paper for the first time and then writing a bill number next to it, really all you're doing is erasing the bill title and always leaving that number 1 next to it. The way I think of it is picture 150 buckets, each labeled with the number from 1 to 150. Those are the bill numbers. Year after year, all you're doing is taking the bill and putting them in those buckets, and then once the season's over, taking them out of the buckets and deleting them. So head on over to the Users tab, log in. When you do log in, you'll see the State Coordinator dashboard. If you're going to go ahead and head down here to Step 2, Seating Legislation, notice this must happen once bills have been registered. Pretty self-explanatory. I give you a walkthrough all here. Simple enough. You're just going to navigate to this bill approval portal. If you go ahead and click the link there, it'll come up. Notice here that if down in the bottom left, there's one for the House, there's one for the Senate, and there's also a nice little counter here. It gives you an idea of how much you have left and what you have to do. Notice here, I already have some for you. Everything in gray you can ignore. So very quickly, anything in gray you cannot edit. Not that you can't, let me start over and rephrase myself here. Anything in gray is not editable in the location you're in. It's imported from somewhere else. It's only there to give you an idea of what you're looking at. However, anything in white you can edit. So notice here I have some bills that are seated. In this section to the right here, the section to the far right of this black line, notice how there are all of the bill titles that have been submitted. I'll delete out this information so it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like from scratch. But bills left to seat, this number will change eventually, it just doesn't want to work right now. But notice how in the bills left to seat section, unless there's one assigned, there is one way down there. If the bill needs to be seated still, it will show up in this column here, right next to where it exists. So you get a duplicate copy. So let's say we want to assign this first bill from North Providence. Let's say we wanted to keep all of the bills in alphabetical order. So in this case, Coventry's going first and then North Providence. We want bill number 1 to be Coventry. So if we look here, Coventry's bill is an act to initiate the digital platform. So we're going to go to 1, and it's an act to initiate the digital platform. This no longer shows up here, and now we can assign it a committee. Digital platform, that's pretty special stuff, so we'll put it there. Next one is an act to choose a state bird. We're going to go over to 2, an act to choose a state bird. Notice how it shows up twice because I used that same exact title in another example. That should never happen. If it does, great way to weed out a problem, and you're going to want to go to handle that later. But an act to choose a state bird, it's going to actually pull the first one it sees, assign it a committee. State bird, not really health, education, or welfare related. You could make the argument that it's judiciary because it's a law to be made. For the sake of this, we're going to put it in special because that's pretty abstract as well. Like I said, you can always go back and change it. Last, we have an act to rename Rhode Island. That one we're just going to go ahead and throw in judiciary because maybe we're questioning the constitutionality of it, and we think that, that's a question as to the Constitution, which cannot, by model legislature rule, we cannot modify Constitution, so maybe we want the Judiciary Committee to dispose of it, so we'll put it there. And that's the process. That's how you seat a bill. Go through this whole list. Notice there's none left. You know there's none left if you click here and it shows up an empty box. Notice how you don't get any nice drop-down options like we did when we still had a bill. You get this nifty option. You only see those options once. If you notice from when we started here, you have all 3 of them. Choose one of them. Perfect. Notice how now we only have 2 options. And then when we move on to the last one, we only have 1 option. this information automatically fills in. What you will also notice is now that you've done this here, it actually shows up in the bill repository. So before you do this step, the bills don't show up on the bill repository. Notice how you're also assigning them numbers as well. And that's really just the quick and easy version of assigning bills. You want to switch to the Senate, go down to the Senate. Like I said, you can just go ahead and repeat the process. Let's say for some reason we wanted that to be 9. School resource officers, definitely education. Boom, you just did the House and the Senate. Quick check, nothing left. Quick check, nothing left. And that's it. So hopefully we can make some more videos for you guys, make this process a little easier. I'll see you in the next videos. And as always, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.